So I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to come back from the previous session. The previous session, I actually only got one glyph drawn, and I ended up talking most of the time there. Hello, Akansomi. How you doing? Welcome to the channel. Now, in the intervening time there, I've gone and generated a version of most of the glyphs, which I'll show you here. And I'm working on making sure that it all works right, and there's more stuff to be added to it, and there's lots of testing and things like that have to be done. Here, I will switch to the main scene and show you. Okay, so this is my font software, FontLab Studio 7, and the items that are in pink on the screen there, hopefully that shows up, are the base components of the Ndebe writing system. Oh good, you're on Conscripts, yes. Conscripts and Neography is where I was posting it on Reddit. And yeah, thank you for the follow. So these are the base components here. Let's see, I'll just open one up. You can see that they've been drawn inside the font software, and I put a thing called an anchor there. This is one of the stems. It's been drawn inside the font software and has a couple of anchors. This anchor here on the left is the one that corresponds to the anchor that I just showed you in the previous glyph, and that anchors the... When you combine a stem with one of the vowels, it anchors the position of it absolutely. And there's another anchor here that will link to the radicals that are down below here. And a glyph like the stuff on the left here, I don't know, oh, you can't see that there, just a sec. Here. This is Igbo in Ndebe. So this is the stem here, this is the radical, and this is the vowel over top. This is a vowel when it's independent. And so what I've done is created basically a script that I can dump into my program here to generate all the required glyph combinations, and they are down here. And then we have at the bottom here, I have the vowels when they're independent, because they have to be lined up in a different position. So in the light gray blue color here, these are composites of all the pieces that you saw up top there. And the clever thing about this is, if I've got this all working right, when I open one up, you can see the components. This is the stem here, this is the vowel here, and this is the radical that descends from it. The stem and the radical determine what consonant is represented. These are all references to the original. This is actually intended to be for at least 3 dialects of Igbo, from what I understand. I didn't design the system. A native speaker named Lotana Igwe Odunze, if I've said that right, is the person who came up with it. She's been working on it for about a decade, I think, to get it right. So it's been created by a native speaker. It's not something I've created. All I did was offer to help her build the font for it, because that's a logical next step, is to make it available on electronics. So I'm building a font, but I didn't create the system. I don't speak Igbo at all. It sounds fascinating, and it also sounds rather complex. I'm an English speaker, and trying to learn tone languages is a major adjustment for my brain. But it sounds fascinating. This is intended to have representation for, let me get these, oh, I've forgotten the names. There's 3 dialects. Owieri and Ebonyi are 2 of them, and the other one begins with an A, and I can't remember what it is. But Lotana's idea was to create a writing system that, I can show it on a chart here. Where is it? There. There. So these are the components of it. I haven't implemented the numbers yet or the number markers, but each of these consonant values varies from dialect to dialect. So in Owieri it might be a P, and in Ebonyi it would be another value, an F or something like that, for the consonant part of a syllable. Her idea is to have people recognize that there are correspondences between those sounds in the various dialects and try and create some unity in Igbo, from what I understand. Now, she could say it better than I could, and she wrote a book about it. I'm basically going on what I've got from her, so I may be misexpressing this somehow, but that's the general idea, is that there will be one way to write all of the dialects of Igbo using this system. And the current system using Latin characters, is that called Onwu, or is that something older? Because I understand that in a lot of cases, people don't write the tones because it's more hassle than it's worth, which means that when people are trying to read it, they're having to sort of guess the tones from context. Ndebe replicates the tones. If you look up top here under vowel markers, you'll see there's 3 columns for each of the vowels. That's high, middle, and low tone. So when you write a syllable in Ndebe, it's going to reflect the tone of the word. I think that's her idea, yeah. To try and create some sort of literate unity between the various dialects, so that it might make it a little more awkward to enter and stuff like that, but people are reminded of that they're speaking the same language as just different dialects of the same language. You'd have to go to ndebe.org probably and take a look at what she's got to say there. This is a graphic off of ndebe.org. Anyway, the idea is to create a writing system. This is just step 1. She's created the writing system. I'm creating the font. This is just step 1. Create a font that can be used on a computer. Down the road, we will find a way to create a version of this font so it can be used on a phone. Onwu. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the term I heard. Anyway, is that the romanization? Yeah. That's not a perfect romanization, from what I understand. When people go to use it, they don't like using the means that you can indicate tones in a lot of cases, or so I've read anyway. So the romanization, well, I've got 2 problems with the romanization. First off, it's an external writing system. Okay. It's an external writing system that's sort of been, here, use this. And it's not designed with the Igbo language from the start. This was designed with Igbo in mind. From what I understand, I may have this wrong, but from what I understand, it should be able to be used for Yoruba as well. I understand Nigeria has just a horde of languages, so I don't know how many it's applicable to or not. But for Igbo, which has got a fairly big speaking base, and possibly for Yoruba, I'm not sure. So I think that's quite cool. Now I've kind of jumped into this, you know, knowing almost nothing about Nigeria and about Igbo, and I still know nothing about the politics and very little about the culture. I find it very interesting, and I've been reading on it, but it takes a lot to absorb that. Mostly I've been trying to do that as a background to understand how this project relates and how it works. I've got a glitch here. I'm just going to check and see if there's a glitch there. There is a glitch. So that is an error on IMID, it looks like. Sorry, I'm distracted here, but I've just found an error in the original glyphs, and I can test that and see if that fixes it. IMID, yes. So that there should be moved back to about there. Why is it not there? Okay. So now if I go back down, see if I can find one that has IMID. Very hard to see here. IMID. Yeah, that's displaying properly again, and that proves that bit. All of the composite glyphs here are built up from the components as references. So if I go back and fix the reference, I can fix the components without having to regenerate them, which is good. That's the way it's supposed to work. So the idea here is to give a way to type all this stuff in. Now, to do that, I have to go into the bottom here. Can you see that? No, you can't. Here, I'll drag that up. And that's, oh, okay, it's not showing it there. Just a sec. Here, so, oh, and it lost it again. Just a sec. There, this is the scripting that interprets a keyboard entry and controls the display. So the first line at the top here is for, there's a syllable in Ndebe that is BA in one of the dialects, Anambra I think, and VA in Owerri. So for entering that here, to keep in mind that Lotana wants people to remember the dialect differences, you would actually type in BVA. And this top line is controlling that. Now, to do a upper tone, you hit the single quote. To do a mid-tone, you don't hit anything extra. And to do a low tone, you hit the grav accent. So if I go in here as a test and do A, upper, it reflects the vowel form of the upper, so va or pa, I can't remember how it's supposed to be, but higher tone. If I take that out, that's the mid-tone, and if I hit a grav accent after BVA, it gives us the low tone. So it will take some adapting to get used to what you need to type in. Most of it's pretty straightforward, and it's built to work with an English language keyboard mapping. But it isn't just entering the glyphs themselves. There's no corresponding keyboard for it, and because this writing system hasn't been encoded in Unicode, in the Unicode standard, this is going to have to be an interim solution for that in the meantime. But I mean, it's a first start. You'll be able to type stuff in this and save it as a PDF that includes the font, and anybody will be able to read it. Down the road, we're going to look at how we get it onto a phone. I believe that Lotana has somebody working on building an app for entering this, and we're going to work on that. But in the meantime, this is how this works here, and if I scroll through this list quickly, you will see that there is a lot of substatements in there, substitution statements. So that has everything covered there. Like I said, it's a syllabary, so when you go to enter something in here, if you just type in BV without typing in a vowel, you don't get anything. No, for iOS, well, okay, it may be needed to be created on a MacBook, that's fine. And a separate means on Android. Somebody's going to have to build an app to do that, but they're going to need a font to load into the app, and hopefully I can provide that. I'm not sure on the particulars of the app development, but that would be the general idea, I'm sure. The problem is that this is the first effort at creating this font, and it's going to be an iterative process. For instance, I haven't even tested this thing really in word processors yet. I mean, I produced a version of it and I loaded it up in my word processor to prove that it would do stuff, but I haven't looked at it for display quality at various font sizes and stuff like that. Yeah, this is effectively pre-alpha. It doesn't include the numbers at all right now. There's nothing defined for them at all. So yeah, it's very pre-alpha. When it's done and when we've tested it and everything else, I'm not sure what Lotana wants to do with it. I'm basically going to develop it, hand it over to her, let her have some people test it, and I will fix problems until it looks like it's functional. And then it's her project after that, unless there's more I can do for her. I just thought that it's sort of inherently wrong that you have like 30 million speakers of a language and they don't have their own way to adequately write the language. That just seems wrong. And if somebody's built a system for it but doesn't have a font, and I have font software and I like doing this stuff, why not build a font for them? So basically that's what I've done. I've done, I would say, most of this. There was some preparation before this and a lot of conversation with Lotana, but I've done most of the actual building of this font in the past 2 days. It came together relatively quickly. However, the scripting stuff here, that was, well, that really pushed the limits of what a font can do. I had to use this extension in the lookups there, and I had to break every consonant combination of stem and radical into its own lookup, and that managed to get past it. But apparently you can't have more than 65,535 characters in a ligature statement or something. Anyway, I've managed to work around that, at least so far. It might change when I get down to doing numbers and things like that. But there it is in all its glory. It's 11,000 glyphs, but when you look at the chart here, it's actually not that much to pick up. It's not as hard as you'd think, but then I've spent a few years trying to figure out this font software, so that's helped a bit too. It doesn't seem that hard now, but there's prior to designing a font of any sort, I just kind of thought of fonts as being a pile of pictures, you know, pictures of the letters, and that's about it. But there is so much to it. It's mind-bending. So the more I do this, the easier the stuff I know how to do gets, but also the more I become aware of how much I still have to learn. I'm on version 7 of this software. Prior to this, I had version 5, and version 5 had a 1,000-page PDF manual. I barely scratched that going through stuff. Version 7 has a website that's a manual, so I have no idea how many pages it is, but this is cutting-edge font software, and they've thrown every bell and whistle I could possibly manage into this program. So it's kind of intimidating, actually, but it's really fun. I've loved writing systems ever since I was a kid, so this is very cool. So anyway, like I said, we have the consonant bodies and the vowel markers. Consonant bodies being the radicals across the top and the stems across the side. So to do KP, or GB actually is a better example, you would use this stem and this radical together, and then you would attach one of these vowel markers across the top, and that would be the consonant as a cluster. That's the way it would appear. So I've got that part working. I may need to adjust the width of the lines on each of the glyphs, etc. But with the way I've got it working, I'll just have to adjust the stuff on the top here, and it'll be reflected in all the composites down below. I'm trying to be. Mostly I've been playing around with producing conscripts for conlangs, and not actually all that much conlanging, mostly conscripting. I've produced, I don't know, a dozen different writing systems that I've just invented, modeled off other ones or just straight out of my head. This is the first real language writing system that I've worked on, although in a sense it's a conscript because it was created by Lotana for her language, but she didn't create the language. The language already existed and has existed for like thousands of years. So it's been fascinating so far, and it's nice to not have to worry about creating the system in the first place. That already existed. It's just a matter of implementing it, which was quite nice. Oh, there's this glyph in the center here. Ignore that. That's just my scratch pad of bits that I've used to build other bits. Before this is finalized, I'll be getting rid of that. But it's just, I've saved bits at angles and things like that. So the next stage is, for this immediate development, is to go back here, to create these numbers and add them into the system, and then figure out, I do like Georgian, I like Avestan, Syriac, I particularly like Kufic Arabic, I quite like the Mayan hieroglyphs, the Egyptian hieroglyphs. I still have an ongoing effort to create a font to write Egyptian hieroglyphics, and it mostly works, but I've got to generate 4,000 some odd glyphs as well, and I haven't finished that process yet. Here, if you go to my Patreon at the top there, there's a pile of the fonts that I've created that you can download, and if you care to support me, you can join my only tier 1 for $1, and that'll let you download the ones that are behind the paywall. But you can see the various things that I've done there anyway, including the Egyptian hieroglyphics one, which is free to anybody to play around with. And I've also got my Twitch and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. It's all fairly consistent. When I'm done a video on Twitch, I pack it up and upload it to YouTube as well. I haven't done that with the last Ndebe session, and I certainly haven't done it with this one because it's not done yet, but when it is, I'll be uploading both of them up there as well. So if you don't see it as a VOD on Twitch, then it will appear on YouTube on the That Font Guy channel. And as a result of the first Ndebe Project broadcast here, I also got affiliate on on Twitch, which means I can now have subscribers. So if you do like what I'm doing here and you want to help me, please consider subscribing. Okay, could this project feed into any other possible fonts for use of other languages and dialects spoken in Nigeria or other countries? Well, from what Lotana said, it should work with Yoruba. So, if free Twitch Prime subs work, yeah, sure. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can link your Amazon account to your Twitch account and have a Twitch Prime sub that you can apply as well. It's supposed to work for Yoruba, but I mean, I haven't even looked at Yoruba to see how well it affects, how it reflects it. There's a lot of languages in Nigeria. I'm not sure which ones work and which ones don't. I believe Lotana said that she'd be happy with it being used for other languages as well. I'm not sure on that, but I believe she would. But that she would want to have somebody who spoke those languages as a native speaker look at the system. So I don't know if it's going to feed into supporting other languages. If it can be, I would think that would be a good thing. Then it could become a standard method of writing across a wide area, regardless of language. But that's Lotana's ballywick. Yeah? Okay. Okay, then it might need some adjustments and stuff like that. Yeah, there is a way to put a nasal in here. I'm not sure I've got it implemented right. I think I do. Because I believe Igbo has some nasals as well. And there's in the center here, you're on the right screen? Yeah, in the center here, there's NM, high, mid, and low. And I believe that you can attach those after a syllable to nasalize the vowel. But again, I don't speak Igbo, so I'm not sure quite how that works. That's one of the things we'll do in testing, is to make sure it works right. The whole idea, though, of creating writing systems for languages that don't have them is something that fascinates me, and I firmly believe in. I think everybody should have a way to write their language that's theirs, and you know, it just seems logical to me that you want to be able to write down your words so that we can record stuff, so you can build up a body of literature and writing and everything else. Right. O versus A versus Ö. Okay. Yeah, that's not a distinction that's made here. There's in Igbo there's O with a dot and O, and I'm not sure which one is which, like how they're pronounced. That's the way they're written in Onwu, if that's the right name for it, Onwu. And that's reflected here, but I'm not sure what the actual phonetics are. I went and looked at the phonetics of Igbo, but I didn't take a really close look. As for testing this, I'm going to build this. I'm going to hand it to Lotana, and as far as I know, she's got some people that are going to test it. That's more useful, really, than me trying to test it, because I can test it to make sure it looks like it's working right, but somebody who's actually writing Igbo using it is going to come across errors, if there are any, more likely than I am. Now, because I'm working with such a small subset of glyphs and generating all of the vowel combinations, I've eliminated a lot of possible errors, I think. It should be greatly reduced. This is the first time I've really used anchors properly and generated the glyphs. Previously, I've been building a full glyph in FontLab Studio terms. That's decomposing the elements so that it's its own glyph. And that's because in my previous software, I could not get anchors to work very well. FontLab Studio 7 is just brilliant and very easy to use so far, although they moved a pile of stuff on me, so I've had a hard time finding some commands. But the anchors, that worked wonderfully. It was nice and clear and very easy to use. So I'm probably going to end up going back and revising all of my previous fonts, or most of them, that used any sort of components joined together to use the anchors instead and generate the glyphs, and that will improve everything overall. Now I've got a new methodology for building stuff, and I'm really quite happy with it, and I've got that because I worked on this project. So if we go back over to the chart here, oh, it's not cheap, it's expensive. I think it's $499 US or something like that. I had a copy of an older copy of a program called Fontographer from the same people, and they offered a cheap rate for upgrades to FontLab Studio 5 if you had Fontographer. So I did the upgrade and got to FontLab Studio 5. And then when it came to I'm working on a Mac desktop. Apple updated the Mac to go from 32-bit to 64-bit, and that meant FontLab Studio 5 wouldn't work. So if I wanted to keep using this, I had to upgrade to FontLab Studio 7 or not upgrade my OS version. And I held off on that, and then eventually decided, no, I want to run the new version of Mac OS, so I'll have to buy the software. And it was still expensive for the upgrade. Yeah, $459 US. Okay. No, not affiliate in any way. If they want to sponsor me, hey, awesome. But no, not affiliate in any way. If I wanted to do the upgrade, I thought, well, that's kind of expensive, but I have also been running a Patreon for a while, and although I don't have a lot of Patreon supporters at the moment, the amount of money is built up, so I was able to use the Patreon money to defray the cost of upgrading this software, and really that's exactly the sort of thing I wanted to do with the Patreon money anyway, so that's good. So now I have the latest version, and I just have to figure out how to use it. And it's suffering from the fact that it just came out a couple of months ago. Oh, there's other programs you can use. Are you on a Mac or are you on a PC? It's available on both, but it's actually better on the Mac than it is on the PC, I'm told. If you're on a PC, yeah, true enough. If you're on a PC, then you want to look for a program called Type Lite. If you look for Type Lite, I want to say Creator with an 8 Studios or something like that. There's Type Lite is freely downloadable, and it will let you build fonts with some limits. Then there's an upgraded version of that called Type, which is $60 US, and that will let you do a lot of the stuff that I'm doing here, but not as easily. Then above that, there's another program called Glyphs that's pretty good. There is FontForge, which is open source and freely available. It's very hard to use, but it's fully featured. It just doesn't get updated very much. And it's not that well documented. But you could be playing with Type Lite. It's free, so you can play with that and just learn how to make the fonts. It won't let you do the scripting stuff. Or $60 for Type, and Type will let you do the scripting stuff. And I think those might be available on Mac and PC now. When I did it, I ran both of them. I was running them on a PC before I moved to Mac. And then FontForge, like I said, you may have to play around with which download of FontForge you get, though, to make sure it works right. But there's lots of options out there. I picked this one because I picked the earlier version, version 5, and I picked version 5 because at the time it was one of the best programs out there, and I had Fontographer, and I could get the upgrade price. So it cost me like $200 to get FontLab Studio 5, and I think it cost me $271 to get this version, but then I had money from Patreon to cut that price down quite considerably. It's not cheap. They're not cheap to do, but it is really top-notch software. I'm not a professional photographer. I don't know if there's better software out there, but I really don't think there is. I think this is cutting edge, and it's quite cool. However, when you on the right screen, yeah. If I start, oh, is it not doing it? No, it doesn't. That's strange. Huh. I wonder why. Let me delve into my OBS here for a second and just see why it's not showing the whole thing. It's only showing part of my screen, which is a little odd. Oh. Bear with me a sec here. Yeah, you're familiar with those. That's a garbage truck. Right, it's not showing the whole thing because my screen is not being fully represented. Okay, that should be showing more of it there. So if I go up here and just start, yeah, that's showing it. If I pull down menus, you can see there's just a ton of stuff you can do here, and each of these has submenus and submenus and submenus underneath it. And honestly, I don't know what a lot of these things are. Some of the grayed out stuff here is true fill versus anchor cloud versus alternate views of things. Character placeholders. I don't know how I define all these things. What I use them for. Edit tunny lines. I don't know what a tunny line is yet. I got a lot of learning to do. Anyway, that shows that a bit better. Where is my... One of the weird things about this program is that it just snaps stuff and pulls stuff free very easily, which gets to be a bit of a pain. I don't know everything, no. No, I think that would be really frustrating, actually, if I knew everything. Okay, so one thing I promised myself I was going to do was to build at least 1 or 2 glyphs online, and I didn't do that last time. I only built 1. So if I look at the number 3, that's a nice simple shape. We go in here and we figure out why it's not showing all the stuff. Seems to be it's showing only some of the glyphs, not all of them. Why is that? Not showing the list, that's fine. Why is it not showing? Let me try that. There we go. Oh, hello, Sugabelli. How you doing? Okay, so now I have a list that shows all of the possible glyphs that are in this font that I'm not using. The ones that are in a white... Oh, you're not on that screen. I'm over there. Okay, so now I have a list of all of them here. The ones that are in white are ones that I have not done anything with, so they don't exist in the font, but the spot for them exists. So when it comes to the numbers, I don't have any numbers defined yet, but they exist in the system. I should have brought this chart up separately so I could look at it. So I was going to pick a nice, easy-looking one to generate. And number 3 looks like it might be all right. So what we do is double-click on that to bring up 3. Come on, there we go. And then I actually cheat and go over here and grab one of my pieces from here. Go back to 3. Oh, yash. There. And I can drop that piece in there. Now, that line there represents the... I should go over this. This is the 0 line vertically. This is the 0 line horizontally. So when a glyph is drawn, it is drawn from that 0, 0 point over as far as this line here, which can be moved. And that line there is where the start of the next glyph is going to be. So you have to place your glyph elements inside of those 2 lines. Then there is a bottom point, which a glyph that extends beyond that will be cut off, and there's a top point as well. So I want to drag this down to 200 minus, like that. No. Stop that. And then we can resize that there. And Akansomi, just so you know, Sugabelli is the woman that built this system, so it's awesome to have her show up. Thank you for that, by the way. Now, I need to go back here and look at one of the regular glyphs and just make sure I'm going to the right height. That goes, I don't know if these numbers come through on the screen very well, but the horizontal body of the top part here is between 600 and 650, and it extends up to 850 and down to minus 200, which is what I thought. So when I go back here and go back to 3, I want it to start at minus 200. Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. So this here is going to go up to 650, like that. That should make it the same height as a stem would be. And I know it's going to have other numbers on top of it potentially. Maybe not number 3, but the others. And it should be centered. This is why I had it on the restricted view originally, right? 450 to 500 should be the center. So when I go back to 3, this should actually be right there. And then when we go back over here, we have a horizontal line and 2 descending lines. Oh, I misread that. It's actually number 2. Good. Okay, so Control A, Control Copy, come back here and go to number 2. So now I want a horizontal, and we'll just grab a line there and put it from there over like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is not right. It'll be, no, cancel. It will be like that, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gotta check something here, just a sec. Over to 650 from 100. Over to 650 from 100. Right. So that line there should go from 100 over to 650, which means this shape here no. Here. Should be centered right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 should be right there. They're going to have to coin a new term. Instead of Romanized, it'll be Ndebized or something. Okay, we have a problem with that line there, which we can fix. And then we're going to take these and combine them. And we still have a problem there. What is with that? I've got an extra line in there somewhere. Don't need that. Okay, so that should be fine there. And then again, I cheat and go up here and grab one of these and go back here and stick it in, but it's at a different angle than that, so we need to bring up, where is it here? Oh, it's taking it away again. Panels lists. Transform. So I'm going to take this bit here and we're going to change the angle. Try 35. Yeah, I know. I got to keep remembering that I've switched off stuff. I should have brought up your chart here as a graphic for a reference. I should do that. Just a second here. Twitch broadcast. No, conlangs. Come on, conlangs. There, that'll do. I can put that over there. Oh. Yeah, that'll do, he says. I forgot. I got to actually open it in preview or something like that. Or it doesn't stay open when I close the window. Ndebe chart 2, PNG. That's it. Open with... Come on. Preview. And that should eventually show up when it gets around to it. There we go. So we can shrink that as a reference over there. Okay. So this can probably be a little bit shorter, but it needs to be about... like no, that didn't work here. Just a sec. Alt. No. There. I want to shorten that a little bit. Oh, that'll do. No. They changed the way you select these things from the previous version, which is kind of annoying. Oh, before I do that, I want to round the ends. So it's basically this sort of process. You're just creating shapes and combining them. So that there should combine like that. This here should combine like that. Highlight it and hit a key combination that joins them. And then I can go back to this and place that in there. Copy. And let's see if that will join. No. Control Z. That means that this here needs to have its direction reversed, probably. And then I can try that again. Yes. Not quite perfect. We can fix that. Fix. I can just adjust that in a moment. And then Control V. Bring it over here. Contour. No, Tools, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and place the same thing. Maybe I'll get this one exactly right. About like that. Join that together. Nope. Didn't get reversed. Right, Control Z. Reverse contour. These things, these lines are all vector drawings and they have a direction that they're drawn in. And as a result, you have to make sure that they've been drawn in the correct direction. Going to reverse out of that because I don't like that join. Okay. No. Same thing. First contour. There. That's a bit better. As you can see, this is somewhat of a rather dry process. And I think that this one has not been reversed yet as well, so we'll do that first and then try it. There. Okay, and there's another error there. And zoom out. And we got a few more. Fix all. There. Okay, now on the chart, that is probably a fair version of the number 2. If I go back in here, get rid of transform, back to here, and bring that up. And then we go down to the bottom and we put in a new entry says lookup numbers sub, I believe it's actually named 2 tick by, oh no, actually I don't need a sub. Right, I will need that sub down the road when I go to do the abstract numbers for things like 100K and stuff, but this is just a straight number. So if I bring up my preview window, should be there already. Try that again. Panels, panels, preview, and I just type in a 2, we get that. And if I compare it to BVA, it's the same height. Yeah. Did I misread it? Oh, the numbers are underneath. That's what I did the first time. Okay, well, that's easy enough to fix. Here. Bring that down. There, now it's a 3. 3. Okay, the that there. Okay, this is a reference to so that there needs to be to the right more so that it lines up vertically here. Okay, then I need to go in and change, what are we on there? Single cross. I'll find out if this changes it or not. It should. I'm going to find out. I tried to build this the right way so that I wouldn't have to worry about that, and I'll find out if I actually have or not. We're going to put that in the middle of that particular piece there, and then see what happens on BVA. I think I'm going to have to regenerate them, which is annoying, but possible. Oh, I've got a list over here, right. You'd think that would be alphabetical, but not so much. It's actually listing them in the order they were generated, I guess, which I don't have as much control over. I basically plug the values in and it generates them according to its own internal algorithm, and it seems to have hidden BVA from me. It's way down the list somewhere here. There's a lot of glyphs in this. Here. That didn't help any. BVA mid, right there. Okay. So, I moved the anchor from there over to here, but I haven't moved the piece here over, and it's going to go over 2, I think, and then we want to move that over like that, and see if that has changed things. There. Yeah, I know, but I can establish the fact that moving it this way is actually changing things, which is what I was hoping would happen. So we're going to put it back 1. No, I don't want that. I just want the glyph. Back 1 like that. And then move this over like that. And then go back here and see. That's getting closer, I think. It might be a matter of whether or not these lines are to the same extent. So that is doing what it's supposed to do, which is cool. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to make sure I'm being consistent, so I'm using the grid as much as possible. So what I want to do is go here and see that is 2 and inside the line. And when I go back here to the stem, which was single cross, right? It is 2 and inside the line. It's drawn it off center slightly. Just a sec. Should be centered there. Oh, right. I didn't move this. Two inside the line, and the width of it there should actually be right there, I would think. No. It's still looking at single cross, which is what I was editing, and I put that on the 500 mark. And when I go here, it's not put it on the 500 mark. That's odd. It's like it didn't update the... I don't want to move that. That's the reference. That's on the 500 mark. I'm going to come back to here. That is to the right of the 500 mark. This is not the way this is supposed to work. That should be located there. Right there. And if that isn't lining up right, then I should be extending the cross probably. My favorite version is, or favorite paper is graph. You are not wrong. I ran out of graph paper. I draw everything on graph paper all the time. So when I'm coming up with a design for something, I'll start off with that. And I want to get it right, so I'm going to fix this. But I just thought this was funny. I ran out of graph paper, and I thought, I wonder if I have any more. And I went into the drawer on my desk here and found 5 more pads of it. So yes. See, if I do it that way, extending both sides, like that, then when we go back here, it should line up perfectly. Well, if I know what has to be done here, I can replicate it through all the rest of them and then resize stuff. Yeah, so now, I'm trying to be consistent with this, and you might have missed that. I don't know. These are the base glyphs that you designed. And then I have basically a massive text file. It's 1,100 lines that I can dump into a window here, and it will generate all of these glyphs down here. But all these glyphs down here are a composition of references to all of these pieces here. So if I make a change on a piece here, it's reflected in all the ones down below, which is a great time saver. And it also means that it should be true of any other combination, that will be the same length now. So if I go in here and type in GBA, oh, haha, proving me wrong. What was that? That was, oh, any other one with a cross. Sorry, right. N. That lines up. Yep, I can save. File. Save as. Very slowly save as. This font software is also stressing my system, I think. Well, having OBS running and everything is stressing my system more than anything else. Let's see what we've got here. Version 3, we'll make it version 3. Or version 4, it's fine. Okay, so saved. I expected a refinement process like this where we would have to go and move things around, and where the radicals were placed, that was one of them. So when I look at the loop here, for instance, it's probably going to end up being extended a little bit more. If I pull up one of the ones that uses a loop, let's say KPA. Yeah, so I'll have to do some movement with that too to make sure it's the right length and everything. But I'll make it work so it's the same dimensions as the cross is here. Just since you haven't seen it, GBA, ignore where the actual hook is, so I can move that. I'll be moving that. And then if you type a grav accent, you get the low version, low tone version. If you type a single quote, you get the high tone version, and that's the mid. So it's doing what we were describing there before. I type in GB and I get nothing until I hit a vowel and it's the full syllable, right? And then and A beside it, so you can see the spacing between them as well. Now, and oh, it's got a G in there still. I, GBO. That is the way it is. I can't map it. Well, I can map it to the actual vowel with the mark on it, but that doesn't appear on your keyboard. At least not on mine anyway, so it's more awkward to enter. So the grav accent indicates the low. No accent being indicated hits the indicates the mid, and then using a right quote will indicate the high tone. Yeah, so this is plain here. Accent acute, yeah. That is the single quote. Effectively, it's a quote. It's a mark one way or a mark the other. So low tone for the, or grav accent for the low, accent acute for the high. I can actually put in any number of entries that replicate the same thing too. That's a right quote, yeah. Single quote, right? In font terms, it's called quote single. So if I change, I typed in IGBO here. If I put in a quote single after that, it does that, and that doesn't look right. That's an error. What's happening there is, I've got to fix that, but this is the sort of thing we got to track down. it's covering up the second dot with the T shape, and I'm not sure why. I'll have to look at that. So that's an O mid. I think the anchor's misplaced here. No, this part is. Still doing it there. So that would be this here, which needs another dot. And oh no, no. You have only the one dot showing there. But I think I've got them reversed. On this side here, you don't have both dots, right? Right. So that should have only the one dot, but I've corrected this, and when it didn't need to be corrected. Right. So if I type O high, O mid, O low. Oh, sorry, got the wrong key. Low. That is not showing it right. Why is it doing that? Oh, ISO mid graph. Oh, it might be my features list here. Just a sec. In the features substitutions, it matters what order things are in. So, yes. So I think I can fix that by just changing the order of this. Put it underneath here. Just see if it fixes that one. Yes, that should fix that. So that's what the problem is. I need to go through the features list here and just move these statements to be the last statement. It's an easy mistake to make. When a font executes this statement, these statements here, it does so. It basically does a pass from the top all the way down, and when it finds a match, it stops. And what's happened here is I've given it a match for the mid vowel before it finds the low vowel, and therefore it never gets to the low vowel. So I actually thought this was a problem I'd fixed, but I must have made a mistake there and put in the wrong version. The substatements here get very finicky. This actually isn't that hard a one to do. It just required a lot of substatements, but some of the fonts that I've created have a lot of nested things, and I wrote one that was sort of like Arabic in style, and it had to detect whether or not a consonant or vowel was the first one in a word or not, or the end one in a word. And the order for execution for all those things is just kind of frightening. Okay, save, render, and then go back to preview, and now I should be able to type A high, A mid, A low. That didn't take low. Low, there. E, oh, actually, E with a dot, high, E with a dot, mid, and E with a dot, low. Yep. I with a dot, I dot mid, I dot low. So right now the letters which are the vowels which are dotted in romanization, you get those by typing a capital vowel in this Ndebe font. Is that the way you were thinking of having it work? No, that's the way I'm well, yes, it is. It is, if I type in a mid vowel, MA for instance here, it is showing the mid vowel until I give it a tone. There isn't really a way to do it otherwise. You want the okay, then that needs to be reversed. That's just a matter of well, that isn't just a matter of me changing the code. The dot below the vowel should be lowercase. They'll be named wrong inside the font, but nobody will know the difference. There isn't really a way to prevent it from showing the mid until you give it a tone. I can have it not show you a consonant until it's got a vowel, and it'll change it for when you give it a tone. But there isn't really a way to avoid that otherwise. It's a limitation of the way the fonts work. It has to take it key by key, and I have it not displaying any of the consonants by having a blank entry for all of the consonants. It'll display a vowel when you type it in because I have definitions for the vowels in here, and then I've got code to make sure it goes to the right one. But there's no way around that. If you want A high, you have to type A, then the mark for high. I don't think there's a way you could do that otherwise. Maybe I could do it so that you typed in, I think that would be really awkward. The only other way I could think of doing it would be that you would type in, say, quote A, and or quote BA, and then it would look for the quote single first, or the grave accent. But no, see, if I did that, then it would end up using even more substatements, I'm pretty sure. And I don't think there's a way around. I'll look at that, but I don't think there's a way around it. And to me, it seems more logical that if I'm thinking of it, I'd say ba, and it's a high tone. So I would type in BA and a high tone. When it comes time for you to produce a app version of this, then you can control that stuff by saying that you have to indicate tone as well and have them pick a mid-tone or something like that. But in the meantime, I don't think there's really a way around that. Now, I want, and, back to features. We'll just get that out of the way for the moment. Yep, sure. There it is there. If I bring up preview, which I helpfully closed, panels, stick there please, preview. I tried to fit it in, and let's see, S, BWA should show it. Okay, well, it's possible to fix that. Bear with me a second here, and I will make it. Took it a while, so that should be another one that gets moved over slightly. That might also help the visibility. And then we need to move the anchor over. And I'll have to address those there to line everything up, but oh. There, that probably has the same problem. Yeah. Shouldn't really matter in the way it displays on everything else. So that BWA there looks better. I know it isn't lined up perfectly with this here, and I can adjust that a little bit maybe, or space this over halfway or something. Yeah, that's easy enough. Give it a second to wake up over here. Seems to take it a second anyway. There. How's that? Okay, yeah, sure. The bottom line of it here is on the 250 mark. I'll just make sure that the others here are in the same spot. They could actually come down a little bit, or I could raise it up slightly more. Yeah, it's on the 300 mark. If I type something that uses the hook, say yeah, I know. I just wanted to establish, does that look right to you for GVA? As opposed to, what were we using? Let's say ZA or BWA. Okay, so then the circle should be brought up to line up with the hook there. That's fine. These are all at 300, so I just drag it up like that and bump it up to there. There. That should fix it. Now I will note there's something I am going to fix that I haven't fixed here yet, which is nope. Huh. Oh, I see why. Nope. Okay, I've got something that isn't showing here. These glyphs here, I'm going to redraw that because the bottom here just isn't showing well enough, so I'm going to move that up a bit. I knew that I was going to do that all along. But I also don't have the scripting in to show NM yet. Yeah, it's a matter of the way the lines worked when I generated them. And I popped them into place and thought, oh, that's good, that'll work. And then I looked at them later and thought, no, you can't see it. It looks like a solid triangle. It's a bit better on this one here than it is on, say, here, where it really loses it. But the whole thing should be up a little bit more so it's more visible. No, that was the fire department. They need to be raised up, the lines for the X, that's all. I've sunk them into the line, the horizontal line below that, and I need to raise them up, but I'll fix that at some point here. That's why, I knew I was going to do that, that's why this X is still here on my scratch pad of glyphs, glyph pieces. Because I knew I was going to do that, so I left it there. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I was more focused on determining whether or not I was on the right path here with generating all these glyphs, and definitely I was, because now when we make a change here to any of these circles, the circle above in that component, it's changed on all the ones down here. If we lengthen the tail on the loop here to line up with what is up top, or move this over, it'll be changed on all of them. No, there's no connection between the gulls and the fire as far as I know. Gulls aren't that clever, but we do have a lot of seagulls, and they're very, very loud. Unfortunately, we have tall buildings right opposite us, and they settle there a lot. Okay, so I've only created, I have to create another number. I told myself I was not going to stick to just one number, or one glyph. I wanted to create more than one, and it's gone back to that again. Why has it done that? No, don't want that. Want name. It's got a weird sort of search function, sorting function in here that I haven't figured out. They changed it. Anyway, last time I did this, I only created one glyph. I've only created one glyph so far, and I don't want to do that. Now I want to display a name. I want index to be encoding there. Okay, so I want to bring up a different glyph of some sort here and build that as well, just as a test. So 1 is going to be really odd. 0 should be alright. It's just a set of lines. I wanted to make sure that I had done more than one. Back and grab that. And it needs to be down, way down. 500 line. 6 to 650, I think, was where it was going. So we're going to drop that down to there. Drop this down to minus 200. Put a curve on the top. Combine the two. I said combine the two. Oh, command. Wrong keys. There. Okay, then it needs the same thing horizontally but shorter, and 2 diagonals. So if we take that and we zoom out and we say, give me that. And those are pretty much at 45 degrees. Control copy. Control V, move it over, and say transform, panels, window, show panels, transform, and we say 45. And we go to there. We're going to want it to continue down to the same point there at the same angle. Zoom in a bit. And no. That didn't work. Need to be able to see the other line too. Extend that up, not that far. Got some sort of odd extra line there. I think that needs to actually go down a bit. 600, 650. No, and the other one needs to go up a bit. Like that, I think. Too far. Either having moving it like pixel by pixel or moving big distances. Okay, so if I go to preview, type in 0, that is probably, actually it is a pretty big shape. It's too wide. I think that's too big. It's going to end up I basically want it to be a square, but I think my shapes are not squares. I type in 0 and then that is the same height. Okay, we can do that. Space after it. Okay. Thanks very much, that font guy Actual Kevin, for coming by. I really appreciate it. And thanks for your help earlier too. Okay, so we want to combine all of them. Oh no, we do not. We want to get this shape here first and copy it. Then we want to combine all of this. And then we want to paste it again, and we want to contour, transform, flip horizontal, and join that. And then we want a horizontal. We have a problem in there, don't we? Fix all. Okay. Okay, thanks very much, Sugar Belly. Thanks for coming by. Like I said, when I get more of this built, I'll be running it past you anyway to get all the small changes that need to be made. And we'll get Ndebe up and running as a font. So I'm going to run that out of there. and copy it and play it again. Bring it over here. Transform. Come on, flip horizontal. Line it up like that. And see if we can combine all of these into one piece. Nope. So that there needs to be reversed first. And then see if that'll combine. Yeah. No. Control Z. Why did that? Oh, because it wasn't everything. Nope. That is very strange. Oh, actually, I don't need to do that. I can just copy this and move it across. And it should be shorter. Noticeably shorter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 4. And we'll add the curve back on. 1, 2, 3, 4. This should be moved over like that. And then we should add a circle on the end. Join that in. Selected everything. It's easy to do with this. And see if that joins. Nope, doesn't. So that needs to be reversed. There. Now why with this shape and that shape not joined together? There. Okay, and then that there is an artifact. Okay. So now we have extra space there, which is a little odd. Well, we created 3, so 0, 3. Oh, spacing's not that bad. There's a thing called kerning I can do to shorten that too. It is only the horizontal line that's shorter. These number shapes are more complex, which is moderately annoying. So the next stage is for me to add in all the numbers, and then she has symbols for like 5 and 10 and 20 and 100 and 1,000 and 10K and 100K and a million and a billion, and I have to create those and then figure out how you're going to type those in to get those results. Probably like 1 with a capital B after it will produce the billion mark, 1 with a M after it will produce the million mark, etc. 100K, quite literally, to get that. It gives you great flexibility with the numbers, but you can also have, say there's 3, you can have number markers attached to the bottom or the top, and I'm not sure exactly. I'll have to go back into our book and figure out why you'd want to do that. It's not a matter of like you can put 3 over top of 10 and get 30, and you can probably do that, but why you'd put 3 over top of 3? I don't think it equals 33. But I'm not sure, so I'm going to have to figure those out too. And then there's some limited punctuation. I've got to add the punctuation in as well. And then when it's reached that stage there, then I generate an actual font and start going into various word processors and seeing how well it displays at 6 point, 12 point, 24 point, 36 point. Above that, it'll display like it does here, quite clearly, probably. That might mean in the end that I end up having to thicken these lines or thin them even to make them display properly at the various sizes. We want to strike the optimum of still being able to read the symbols and still having them close enough, not too far apart, at the smaller resolutions, because it'll usually work at a larger resolution, but the smaller ones can be more problematic that way. So once the punctuation and the numbers are in place, which is what I'll be working on next off camera, probably, then I've got to do some edge case testing to look for what happens under various odd circumstances that might come up, to make sure it deals with that properly, and possibly put some code in to cover that. And then once all that's cleaned up, I'm going to hand it off to Lotana, and Lotana is going to get some people testing it, as far as I know. So it's progressing nicely. It's not done yet. I've made terrific progress, but now's when it starts to slow down a little bit, trying to figure out all the possible ramifications and problems and things like that. But I think I've designed it right the first time here as well, building all of the glyphs up from the components like that. It's not something I've done in the past, and it's something I couldn't do in FontLab 5. I couldn't figure out how to do it. The anchoring thing didn't work right, but it works right here. So it's progressing nicely. Thank you everybody who showed up here. I really appreciate you coming by to check out the stream. And I hope if you enjoyed what you saw here and you haven't hit follow yet, please hit follow and hit the notification bell and all that stuff. If you really enjoy what I'm doing here and you want to support me, then please consider subscribing. I've now reached affiliate status and I can have subscribers, and that would be greatly appreciated. And if you didn't have a chance to watch the whole thing, then oh, hello Bosk. Yeah, you're a little too late, sorry. I'll go over this quickly and show you what I've done, just so you've seen it before I go off. I will be posting the VODs from these to YouTube as well, although there'll be a delay on that because it's required by Twitch conditions now. I made affiliate, if you didn't know that, on Bosk. So what I've done here is build the components for the writing system, and then I expect I will be back inside of the week, probably. I'm not sure, but it depends on how much I get done and whether or not I've got anything new to show off. Probably inside of another week. I also do streams playing a game called No Man's Sky, so be sure to, check Twitter and stuff like that, and just make sure that you're not tuning in to watch Conlang stuff and I'm actually playing a game. Yeah, I'm planning on being on fairly often. Okay, so Bosk, the pink shapes that are up here are the components that you see in the chart on the left there. I built all of those. Each of them looks like this, for instance. It has these anchors that I placed here, and each of the things that would attach to that shape, as per this chart, has an anchor on it as well. And then I have a big text file that is all the commands to take the I'll look over here and show you the stems on the left hand side of this thing, combine it with the radicals at the top, or markers, and then put the vowel markers on top of that for each syllable, and that script effectively generates all of these glyphs here. Oh, that's not scrolling there. All of these glyphs here. So each of these glyphs in the light blue here is a composition of references to each of these pieces here. So Lotana was on earlier. She wanted me to adjust the size of this here so that it lined up better with the top of the stem. So I can make one change here, move the anchors and move the shape, and it's reflected in any glyph that uses that cross shape down below here. So all of the ones that would have a cross in it All these across here, for instance, got moved over automatically. So I've saved myself a terrific amount of work here by doing it right the first time. And I can just make adjustments to these pink glyphs here, and it's reflected in all the composites down below. I couldn't get anchors working before I updated to this version of the software. So my previous version, I just couldn't get anchors working right, so I'd never done that before. Each glyph is a syllable. So it's either just a vowel. I'll show you on the preview over here. That's a couple of numbers. A with a high tone, A with a low tone, or it's a consonant plus a vowel. So K, A with a high tone, or a low tone, or a mid-tone, like that. I won't take that, right? So in Igbo, if I understand things correctly, it's a syllable language. It has 3 tones, low, mid, and high. And it does have some nasals, and in this system here, it's not working right now. You can type an M character that'll appear after a vowel to indicate that it's a nasal. I've got to fix those characters, and I haven't written the scripting in to display them yet. But otherwise, it's a syllabary. That's what they're called, where each glyph represents a syllable. So it may look like there's a lot of them, and there is. I mean, there's 1,193 or something like that. But it's built up out of this system here. So you can see the consonants that are here, and then you add on a vowel in either a high, mid, or a low tone. High, mid, or low tone. It's probably not coming across on the screen right there, but the E, I, O, and U on the left here have a dot underneath them in transcription, and it means they sound different. It's probably the difference between, say, ah and o, but I'm guessing, or oo and or ah and oo. And then they can be nasalized apparently, and I don't know the rules about that. So basically, I built the components, then I've generated all of these glyphs here, and then I have gone and, is it showing up down here? Features. Written all of this here, which is the Adobe OpenType font scripting, which is basically a whole series of substitutions. So the first one here says substitute a capital B or a small b, and the tick after it means replace it as well. A capital V or a small v and replace it, and a capital A or a small a and replace it, followed by a quote single quote, by BVA high. So that's the BVA combination as a high tone. And what it does is it goes through, and when you hit a B in, it waits for a command and sorts through this, and when you hit a V, it goes back through and looks for another match, and when you hit an A, it goes back through and it hits another match. And if you hit quote single, or if you want the low tone, a grave accent, it will display those versions. If it doesn't find either of those, then it'll match on the next line and display BVA mid. And there are a lot of substitution statements here, and there's going to be a few more. It actually stressed out and caused errors because there was so many substitutions being done. I'm really abusing the ligatures feature of fonts. You're not really supposed to use them this much, I don't think. So they didn't allow for it in the standard. There's, you'd know the exact number, I'm sure, but there's a limit of something like 65,535 characters or something to a feature statement, unless you use this keyword, which I had to look up, which is use extension. And I'm guessing that what it does is adds another block where it'll store this information and process it. And the other thing I had to do was make all of these substatements into their own lookups too. That means that in the background, when the font is generated, it generates a separate lookup table for each of these, as far as I know. There's some odd font logic for how it breaks stuff down. But yeah, because I don't have the ability to produce a language pack for operating systems, and I haven't figured out how yet. I'm going to have to figure it out eventually just to play with it. The only way to support this stuff that I know of is to use ligatures, and I'm beating the hell out of fonts generating these ligatures. I ended up doing a whole pile of macro development in a text editor to search and replace and generate all of this text here, and I've saved that so I can dump it in here if I ever need to again. But hopefully I won't have to. Anyway, that's all the consonants ending there. Then there's the vowels here, and then when I get into using the numbers that are here, I'm going to have to add a number section in, and then another one for punctuation. There's a limited amount of punctuation as well. It's only 4 or 5 symbols, I think. Yeah, it's very cool. I really find the Adobe font scripting to be one of the neatest parts of this. I've done some really kind of amazing to me, very dry, but amazing to me things. Like I decided I wanted to try building a writing system that was like Mayan hieroglyphics, which are, of course, a center shape with other components around them. Well, that's not really possible in font software the same way. They're just not built to work that way. They're actually built to work for European fonts because they were written by Westerners, and then they've been adapted to work with, say, Asian fonts and like Devanagari in India and stuff like that. But they're just not built that way. But I managed to figure out a way where I could have it detect which part of a Mayan hieroglyph was being drawn, and then figure out which other bits could be attached to it. And I've still got it saved somewhere there. I didn't want to generate all the art to create my own Mayan hieroglyphics because I don't have a great way to draw on the computer yet. But now we have an iPad Pro and we have a drawing program, and I have the new version of this software, and I might go look at that program again and see if I can pull stuff in from the iPad properly and draw on it. As a matter of fact, maybe I could draw on this thing here. I haven't really played with the drawing functions. But anyway, this is going pretty well. I have to finish making the changes that need to be made here, which is mostly just lining some stuff up the same way and fixing 1 or 2 minor problems, and then generate it as a font, load it up in various word processors and make sure it displays properly, and then I may have to come back and adjust the size of like the proportions of these glyphs here. If you look at this glyph here, this is drawn pretty close to what she has on her chart over there, but I may need to move these lines further apart because when you're writing in a word processor in, say, a 12-point font, it may not draw that well enough. It may need to be separated like by half a grid square or something odd like that, just to make it more visible. And that may be true of the rest of it. But with the design I've got here, I'd only need to adjust these pieces here, basically, and it gets adjusted in all these, which is really satisfying. With my Egyptian hieroglyphics font, I didn't do that. And I have another 4,000 glyphs to generate for that. And I've already generated something like, I don't know, 11 or 12,000 glyphs or something. I got another 4,000 to put in that, and I just can't bear the idea of going back and cutting and pasting all this stuff. So I've put it off. But it was an interesting project as is. So anyway, yeah, I basically discovered with Egyptian hieroglyphics that the only way that a student of the Egyptian writing can enter something is to load up a third-party program and basically compose the hieroglyphics as a graphic, and then they can cut and paste it into what they're doing. And that seemed to me to be rather frustrating, I would imagine. So I tried to build a font that would let you type in Egyptian hieroglyphics and tack everything in, you know, stack them up and everything else like that in the right spots. And it does most of it. It'll even do an indication of damage over a text. And I own a copy of Gardner's Egyptian Grammar, which is this big heavy book. It's about 4 inches thick, that was used to teach Egyptian hieroglyphics at the University of Chicago, and they put this out as a manual. Well, I came across a copy of it and snapped it up, and I was setting myself the task of producing a font that would let you type everything that was in Gardner's Egyptian Grammar into a word processor if you wanted to. That was the end goal. And I would say, barring the 4,000 small glyph combinations that I've got to generate, if I can figure out where I was, I'm probably 80% there, which is kind of cool. So it's something I am going to finish eventually. Anyway, that is everything for... yeah, there's a video on YouTube of just how to type Cleopatra. I should probably do a bigger video on it sometime and show off the thing more. But now that I've got this new building methodology, I might find myself back in that, rebuilding the whole thing. Although at least let me cut and paste between the previous version and the new version. But I might be able to do it more efficiently. Anyway, I'm going to call this stream done. If people liked it and want to support me, then where is it here? There it is. There's my Patreon. Obviously, you know where I'm on Twitch. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and I am on YouTube. And because of the last stream, I've now made affiliate on Twitch, so I can now have subscribers. So if you really enjoyed it, please subscribe. And I will be back with more of this, more broadcasts on Ndebe, probably within a week at the most. I'm going to try and finish up the next little bits here to get to the next stage, and then I'll come back and show off the progress. And if you have anybody that you know that might be interested in this, please tell them to go to my channel and on Twitch and follow me and hit the notification thing, and they'll know when I'm going to be doing the next one. Follow me on Twitch. I broadcast on Twitch, warning 24 hours beforehand, basically, that I'm going to come on, and then again in the morning to try and catch more people. And I really enjoy having more people show up. So if you get a chance to spread the word, please do. Thank you very much, Bosk. Nice to see you again, even if it was a little short. I need an intern. I'm not making any money off this. When I make some money off this, then maybe I can get an intern, but not yet. Plus my office is like 4 square feet, so that doesn't help any. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks very much for dropping by. If you didn't see the first session, please check out the VOD on the Twitch site. If you wait 24 hours, then I should have both videos up on the YouTube channel as well for reference, and I'll be doing more of these. Have a great day.